expected of us to teach. And of course, that meant I had to take on that role. And I had been a teacher before I had kids, so I knew I could do that. But I feel like I had been so consumed with trying to learn everything and improve my technique along the way that I wasn't as worried or thinking about leadership. And it wasn't until, of course, after black belt, which maybe I could finally breathe without worrying about my learning as much, that I feel like I jumped into the leadership role, and I've been trying to improve that every day. I've had this last week. I had two different situations with students where I felt really bad, like I didn't do a good enough job for a student. And it actually woke me up in the middle of the night trying to figure out how I was going to fix that problem. And I came up with solutions for both of them. Um, but I really feel like I want to always help our students and get them to where they need to be, and at the same time improve myself and the what I'm doing for them, and then what I'm even doing on the sidelines for myself. Am I a good enough person? How can I improve that? And then how can I, of course, help others improve that as well?
For me, leadership has always just been meeting a standard. If the standard is in 4 years, 5 years, you're going to make black belt, you need 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, and 100 jumping jacks. Okay, we're going to tell them that you need to know 30, hands, kicks, and grabs. You need to know, what is it, 10, 12 forms, this weapon, and away you go. And leadership can slide on a scale between authoritative and very mothering, I guess is the term. I don't know what it is, but people are going to react different ways, find out how they're going to do it, and then basically just hold them to a standard. And when people fail, because I did several times in karate, you don't kick them to the curb. Okay, well, that was a good effort, bye. You pick them back up, you dust them off, and tell them, okay, this is, work on A, B, and C, and then you're good.
Very nicely worded, both of you guys. Yeah, I think that both of you guys touched on some very strong things with leadership. And part of Mr. Paul, what you said, is leading through example of this is what you've got to do it. And in martial arts, and in the military, it's very written. This is the stuff you've got to do, and you do that stuff. You meet those requirements, and then you do it, and you live by it. And Ms. Nicole, I think that a lot of the things that you said as well, you go back to some of our previous guest speakers, they talked about how important it is in leadership and in success not to give up, right? And that nobody's perfect. No leader is a perfect leader. And I love that you gave some real examples, because that's true for every instructor, and that's true for every leader in any area. Sometimes you fail, and sometimes you failing is you failing other people. You not making the best decision for this one person, or you not handling this, for me not handling this one situation perfectly. But part of leadership, part of successful leadership, and part of success anywhere is how you handle it, right? And so instead of just giving up and being like, I can't be an instructor, I can't take care of these students, you are coming up with a solution. How am I going to fix this? How can I make this better for this person? And that is such a strong quality of leadership and of an instructor. So thank you both for your leadership in our school and everywhere in your lives. I'm going to go ahead and read they wrote me a little bio. So I'm going to go ahead and read that. So Miss Nicole did. Surprise, Paul. All right. So Paul and Nicole both have master's degrees in history from the University of North Florida. That was all paid for through the military because of Paul's academic scholarships for himself and for Miss Nicole. Mr. Paul is a 25-year veteran retiree from the Marines and the Army. Paul is a very devout Catholic. Miss Nicole is dedicated to helping nature, and they both train and are looking forward to their second degree test. And they're getting pretty close. When is your guys' second degree testing date?
October.
Yeah, really close then. Wow. I was thinking a little bit, the next one is what I was thinking, but that's awesome. And you guys they have stayed so on top of their training. And a big thing with that is they have done that through self-discipline. It hasn't been Master Lappin or myself saying, you're not in class, what are you doing? Are you practicing? We consistently see them getting better and better and more prepared for their second degree test. And that's on their own initiative. And I know with Miss Nicole, she mildly said it with I'm dedicated to helping nature, but she, you know, on Earth Day, she spoke to everybody. And one of the things she said is treat every day like it's Earth Day. And I think that she is a really good role model in that sense of, you know, in recycling, and she's a master gardener, and all of these different things that she does to help the environment. So if any of you guys, I know I have called her, I had these little mite things on some of my indoor plants, and I texted her one picture and she's like, yep, this is it, and this is what you can do. So if you guys need any help with recycling or anything environment wise, Miss Nicole is a very good resource. And I don't know if everyone, I wanted to read that because I don't know if everyone knows that we have these two instructors who are amazing martial artists, amazing leaders. You guys do know that. But I don't know if you know how successful and how like achieved they are everywhere else. They both have master's degrees. That's something that not a lot of people achieve. And that's a big commitment and a big goal to achieve. And Mr. Paul's military career, that's a big sacrifice for the entire family and a big commitment on his part. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Now I'll go into my other questions. Okay, so my first question, and I don't know if you guys want to answer it together or each answer it. I'll let you guys decide that. But how did the Black Belt leadership training at Middleburg Martial Arts, you guys weren't, you know, training once you were in school. So I'm just going to ask you how it's helped you in your life, whether it's in your careers, with your family, anything like that. How has the Black Belt leadership training at Middleburg Martial Arts helped you in your life?
I'll start. So even before we started karate, because I was in my 30s, of course, when I started, and I started because my kids started. I was already very athletic, and of course, I knew how to get through school. I had my master's degree only 5 years after graduating high school, so I knew how to work hard and be dedicated to something. But I really do feel like I know for a fact, personally, I have made huge strides and improvements. And I won't even think of karate. Of course, now I can kick and punch and do all sorts of forms. But on a personal level, my positivity has increased dramatically. I've struggled with depression my whole life and social anxiety. And I've become far more positive, because if you're going to be around other students and then of course help other students, you have to be positive. You can't be giving off bad vibes or talking about how hard this is or I can't do it, because not only does it not help you, it doesn't help other students at all. So I really feel like I've become such a more positive person, and I'm constantly harping on Paul. I'm like, how do we turn that around into a positive? And on my kids, of course. And then I'm constantly, I feel like I have gained confidence. I, of course, was a teacher. I was a teacher in college. That's part of how I paid for college, and then at the high school. So I knew, of course, how to stand up in front of kids with no problem. But to then stand up in front with all the parents watching you, the other instructors watching you, and just to step on the mat the first day anyway was a struggle, because you have so many people watching you, but you soon realize no one's watching you. All the moms and dads are watching their kid, not you. But of course, when you become an instructor, they are, and you constantly have to, how can I do a better job so that those parents or guardians are comfortable with the fact that you are instructing their students, not just in karate, but hopefully improving their character and their personality, and even working with them alone possibly. So that does improve your confidence over time, just having to be in front of people. And then of course you're improving your technique and realizing I can do this, because I remember once we were green belts and we were in Jared's class, and I love Jared, but I was so frustrated. I don't remember what it was, but like with trying to learn everything. And I was like, I'm just going to quit, Paul, and you're going to keep going with the quit kids. And of course, Paul's like, no. And, but which made a huge difference. Having Paul and the kids made a huge difference with that as well. So I do feel like I'm more positive with myself, more confident, because I'm also when I have to lead meetings at the garden club, I have to have confidence to stand up in front of my peers, which is different from standing up in front of kids. And of course, the constant persistence that you cannot quit. It doesn't matter how hard or challenging, you cannot quit. And you have to instill that in everyone that's around you. And that it's a team effort. You can't do this yourself. I have Paul and my kids to help me. I have the other instructors. I have other students. I have all the parents there. And you have to do it with the mindset that you're not alone. You are going to work with all these people. And of course, you have to do it in the most diplomatic, positive way. So it works for everyone, not just for you.
For me, it was a sense of community. You know, I did my time in the military, and there's always someone else there, someone to talk to, another soldier or, you know, officer, whatever. And my job is very similar. My civilian job that I do now is very similar to my military job, so much so that half the people at work are prior military. So karate gave me an opportunity for branching out of a very small group of people, a community of people who I would have known anyhow, into a group of people who I would have never met any other way. And they're positive people. They want to do something good with their kids, or they want to do something good for themselves. I'm not reading, writing reports and hunting humans who are, you know, the scum of the universe. And so for me also, the forums, I enjoy forums because I come home and I'll do them super slow. And I think about, why am I doing this move? What does this move mean? Why am I doing it? And it helps me relax. So, you know, the takedowns, the kicks, the punches, you know, those are all great and grand and glorious. And the majority of my family enjoys those the most because they're the most direct practical application. I enjoy forms just from the stretching and the moving and the bending and all that kind of thing. So did I answer the question?
Yeah. How did the leadership program improve yourself?
The leadership program improved myself because I relax more, and I'm meeting a group of people who I would have never been exposed to prior to that. You know, there is a community in the Middleburg martial arts program, and you know, it's kind of rough because you have a lot of people that'll come in and then they'll flow out, you know, but once you start hitting that those mid-level ranks, you start noticing that, okay, these people are going to be here all the time. You start talking to them about other things also. So.
Yeah, build a lot of friendships. And I love that that community is strong for you because you know, it's the community is a big part. And Miss Nicole, you said it, having Paul and having the kids training with you helps keep you on board. And it made me want to share with everyone, you know, having a friend in martial arts, if it's not a sibling or a family member, having a friend there is such a strong piece of helping you achieve your goal. And that's true anywhere you go, any goal you have, having a support system is really important. So, and that's why we do stuff like we have our buddy day coming up. And that's why I cannot urge you enough to invite a buddy so that you can develop that, have a friend there supporting you. But for a lot of people who do join with their families, that community is still a piece of that. The friends that you make outside of that, even when you're training with your family and you're supporting each other, building friendships and relationships is still a big part of that. I also loved, Paul, that you mentioned that the forms, and a lot of the men in martial arts love the you know, the grab techniques or the one steps, like things where you're taking each other down and it's so intense. But the forms, for me, are my personal favorite. But it's nice to hear that from a male as well, because it is such a strong form of meditation. And I know if I want to do my forms in a really strong, aggressive way, I can, or a really soft, meditative way, you can. And either way, once you learn a form, who has the first form they ever learned? Probably. You've probably done at least 1,000 times. If there's one form that you could close your eyes and do, raise your hand. Everybody probably has at least one. Any of the black belts have about 10 that you could do in your head without even thinking about it, right? And they become muscle memory. Like if you do the first form, complete muscle memory. You could blindfold me, put me in water, and I could do that form, you know? So, and that's how it is for the black belts with those basic forms. They become muscle memory. So when you do it, it is a form of meditation. You don't need to think about anything else. Now, when you're learning a new form or you're memorizing a form, it is, I love that too, because it's a challenge and it's like learning new things and that kind of thing. But practicing forms really is a strong form of meditation. And that's what, if you look at what Tai Chi is and things like that, they're doing forms and they're doing it in a breathing motion. So I love that you shared that you practice that in a slower form too. Okay. For each of you guys, what would you say is the most important thing that you benefited from your black belt leadership training?
I really think the most important thing I've gained is having a more positive attitude and trying to turn everything into a positive, and then also helping others. I'm really, the word's not pleased, whatever the word would be, but happy to be able to help my students improve, not just, of course, in karate, but improve themselves as well. So when I've been working with a lot of these private lessons, I'm trying my best to talk to them, see how they're doing, what we can do to improve everything that's in their life. And I feel really good about doing that for them and hope to be able to continue to do that.
I've calmed down a lot. I know people are going to laugh, but from 2013, when I first got out of the Army to now, it takes significantly more to set me off. So being calmer.
Good. And Ms. Nicole, with what you said, and that's going back to that servitude piece. And what she just said becomes so true for everyone who starts teaching. And for you guys that are in CIT, I want you to think about if you've ever had a moment where you have been helping a student and then you see the look in their face when they learn it, or they tell you thank you, or I had someone come in to me and I had to tell Kalia about it because it was a newer student and she was like, Miss Kalia is my role model. And Kalia's not even in that instructor role yet, but that happens so quickly where students really do. You are there, and Miss Nicole is that for so many people. You're the one inspiring people, motivating them to want to do their best, putting them on track for their goal of achieving black belt, which is a life-changing thing. And so I think that that's something, we talk about. I say it a lot, black belt. Once you get to black belt, it becomes about helping other people. But it's not just, you now have to teach classes, you now have to serve others. It's not completely selfless. In teaching and helping other people, there is so much reward in that. There's so much that you get out of, so much joy that I know I get out of, and you could see it in Miss Nicole and any of the instructors when they genuinely help somebody and they see somebody improve their technique, or they see somebody improve their confidence or improve their discipline or their focus. Seeing that difference is so rewarding for instructors. Okay, so just something for you guys that are starting out in CIT to look forward to. All right, actually, I kind of wanted to ask you guys, if you don't mind sharing, can you tell everybody how old you were when you started training? Because I know we have some adults who are just now starting, and a lot of the people that we've talked to start so young. But you don't have to be 4 years old when you start martial artists to achieve the goals of black belt and to be a good martial artist.
Well, I'm currently 38, so I'm assuming maybe I was 32 or so, somewhere around there when I started training. And I do remember as a kid, there were times I was think, oh, being a ninja would be awesome. But of course, I never thought I would do it because holy moly, the thought of stepping on the mat, especially, when we started, and it's still like this a lot, there's a lot of kids training and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm the only adult on the mat. But now, of course, that's not a problem. and you don't, I really do encourage all the adults, even if you feel like you're not athletic or you can't do these moves, I really encourage them to get out there, because you start slow and you build up and build up, and your body's going to get stronger and more flexible. And not only can you now defend yourself, but your body works better. And the older you get, that's going to get harder and harder. So if you continue with this, your body's going to continue to hold up for as long as you need it to.
I was 43 when I started. And so this October, when we test, I'll be 50 for second degree. But
Yeah.
I agree with Nicole that, getting out there and doing something, it's so easy to go and say, I'm mid 40s, I'm 50 years old, I can't. You can do 10 push-ups, and being embarrassed by a 9-year-old will make you do 3 more push-ups. So now you're up to 13, so it's like anything else, you have to build up to it. But yeah, I started in my mid 40s, and I'm glad I did.
Good. Thank you guys for sharing that, because I think that it drives me crazy, but you see, I mean, even teenagers have that same mindset sometimes, but especially adults. And I would say especially adults over 30 have this mindset of, unless I'm already on track for this goal, I can't set a new goal. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, it's so rare that somebody goes back to college and starts a new career with this new degree or things like that. They feel so, could never start martial arts. A lot of the parents, we have a lot of parents on here who've tried classes. We have a lot of parents on here who feel like they can't start training because, oh, my son's already a red belt, I could never, I wouldn't be on the same page as them, or, I would embarrass myself. Like you said, everyone would be watching me. I'm not capable of doing that. Nobody is capable of doing what a black belt can do their first class, and nobody expects you to. I was just reading a book by Rachel Hollis. She's a couple really good books, and one of them is she's talking about, she's like 35 and she just started boxing, and she was like kind of like laughing to herself about what everybody in the class is probably thinking of this. She's kind of a really skinny, lanky girl picking up boxing as a beginner with all of these super in shape men who have been boxing for years. You know what? When she said that, I was thinking in my head, I know exactly what that's like for martial artists. No one in that room cares what she looks like, where she's starting, because they all started somewhere too. So for all the adults that are listening in the background with their kids training, right now is a perfect time for you to start any new goal that you've been thinking about, dreaming about, wanting to do. Or even if you haven't considered setting any new goals for yourself, right now is a good time to think about what you want to be like 10 years from now and set a new goal, because you know what? 10 years from now is not that long of a time, right? 10 years from now is going to be here before you realize it. And you could be a second degree black belt by then if you decide to set that goal right now. And it's going to be there before you know it. You guys are about to test for your second degree. Does it feel like forever ago that you started training?
No, it doesn't.
You've been a part of the family for a long time, but it doesn't, those hard points, you do remember them. It's not easy. And any goal you achieve, it's not easy all the time, but you make it over those so fast. Each one of those, the workout where it seems like you're not going to make it through, you make it through, and then you're done and you're on the other side and it feels amazing. I remember right after your guys' first degree test, right afterwards, I think it was Nicole, she said, I'm not testing for my second degree. That was hard. But you know what, here she is about to test for her second degree. And the test is hard, but you know what? You can make it through. You're going to be able to do it, and you're going to feel amazing afterwards. So thank you guys for sharing that. Okay.
Real quick, Rachel, the two key things here is, one, if you pigeonhole yourself, I'm only an analyst, then you're only an analyst. If you allow yourself to be an analyst and a gardener and a karate person and a mom and a dad and a this and a that and the other thing, you'll realize that A, you can do multiple things. And then B, 10 years from now will still happen. 10 years from now is still going to happen. Tomorrow is going to come. 10 years from now will happen, whether you want it or not, and whether you make black belt or not with your kid. Even if you just get on the mat and train with your kid, And you know, I think Sean is an orange white belt, and both of his kids are black. You know, and you know, just do it as much as you can so you have an idea of what they're doing. So, okay, sorry.
No, that's a good one. I actually just started snowboarding a couple of years ago. Tegan, it's one, we do it once a year. We go snowboarding. I suck. The first time I went snowboarding, I had bruises all over my body. Second time, bruises all over my body. Third year, bruises all over my body. With doing it once a year, I'm not getting much better each time, but I'm getting a little bit better each time, right? And now Tegan's starting to snowboard. And so I want to be able to snowboard by the time she gets there. And you know what? It might take me, well, actually this year I didn't fall very often. So there's a better. I can only have one bruise this time. But the point is, you know, the 5 years that I've practiced and got a little bit better and better and better to where I can go down a hill, I can go down a black slope and I can be okay, is done. Right? So I'm not gonna have to do, I'm never gonna have to be that first year where I had bruises literally head to toe from snowboarding, because it's done. So whatever new goal you want to set for yourself, especially training in martial arts, that time, just like Mr. Paul said, is gonna pass either way. It's gonna be over with. It's gonna be in the past behind you. And so I could be right now saying, you know what, I still wish I started snowboarding. And I could right now be starting and have bruises head to toe, or I can be where I am and know that I'm done with the bruises head to toe. I only get one bruise each time I go now. So it's going to get better. It's going to get easier. And eventually I'm going to be at a point where I'm going to be able to go down the mountain with Tegan and with Marley. And that's a big, you know, any new goal like that is awesome. So set a goal for yourselves. For kids, set a new goal for yourself. Push yourself a little bit harder in karate. If you have a goal you already set, like black belt, push yourself a little bit harder, add something to it. Maybe it's winning in the next tournament or something like that. Okay, Miss Paul and Mr. Nicole. No, Mr. Paul, Miss Nicole, what would you guys tell a student or parent who is considering making the commitment to black belt leadership training?
I would say they definitely have to do it. And there are a lot of sacrifices of time, money, energy, but as an adult, I've made such an improvement, because I could have ignored all that stuff, right? I am an independent thinking an adult, and I could have said, no, I'm going to continue being the way I wanted to be. Or I can make the decision to be a better person. And that has made such an important change and difference in my life, that what could it do for, say, a child who starts young and can absorb so much more, so much easier, that I feel like it is something that everyone should do. I'll read the articles, and some person or family or area is having a problem, and I immediately think, and it's so corny, I'm like, they need to go take karate. And and so I really do feel like all the stuff that we teach our students beyond, you know, the actual karate makes such a huge difference that everyone needs to go do it. And so, of course, I would tell everyone, you need to come in and do this and make the dedication and turn your life around.
I agree with Nicole. The key thing here is the community. You have a group of people. I forgot how your mom says it, but you know, you're the product of the 5 people you hang out with, or the sum of the 5, whatever it was. But then also, if you really think about it, from white to black belt takes about 4.5 years, which is the length of time for high school. 4 years, which is the length of time for college, for a bachelor's degree, roughly 4 years. You know, and your first job, your first career move is about 4 years. If you become I'm looking at Miss Maya's photo in the thing now. So if she becomes an advertising person, it'll be about 4 years where she learns the whole ropes, and whether she's with that same company or not, she'll then advance in that field. So a lot of things in the US culture is built on 4 years. Why not start your kid off learning what does 4 years feel like? Because football season, he can play 4 years of football, but that's only a 3-month season. Same with baseball or basketball or whatever else. This is an entire year-long thing. And then also the extra gold meetings, being able to sit there and say, you know, I think this way. And then 40 other people around you go, you know what, I think that way also. Heck,
Yeah, that's how you know you're in a good environment, right? When we're all talking about these big things that we talk about in the gold meetings, giant goals and life values, and everyone in the room is on the same page, and everyone's like, yeah, you know. So that's it. It is a good feeling. And thank you guys both again for everything you have shared. I really appreciate it. Master Lappin, is there anything that you want to say or anything you guys want to ask these guys?
Yes, and I want to thank you guys for being here. And I want to say that really we are honored and very fortunate to have your family with us. As I was sitting here listening to what you guys were saying, it's a lot of the same stuff that our mentor is telling us, Paul, with what you just said about the 4-year and the college and all that. And I look at how open you guys are. You're so successful. You've got your master's degrees, and yet you're still open to learning new things. And it makes me feel honored that you come to our gold meetings and that you are still so open to learn. Because you know what I found? The people that are open to learn, like you guys are, and like I am, and like we are the ones that continue to grow and become successful. And I think the secret of it. But we're really lucky to have people like you, because oftentimes we get a lot of parents in our door and they really want karate for their kids, but because they want a different life for their kids, but they're not willing to change anything or make any sacrifices for it to happen. Those parents might be the ones that, you know, they can't quit smoking for their kid to come, or they can't, you know, whatever. And life is never going to change unless they do something to make it change. And that's the sad part. And the people that kind of know that, like you guys, are already growing. And the ones that don't know it, it's really hard to get them to see that. But I think you guys could help facilitate that because of the way you just talked and the things you said. And all these kids on board here are going to have such a better life because they're getting it so young. And they're hearing the same thing from not just their parent, but from other people in a different way. And, you know, they might not listen to me, but they might listen to Mr. Paul. Or they might not listen to Maya, but they might listen to Master Luton. So I think together, I think we are all making a difference in the world. We really are. I believe that. So thank you for being a part of that.
All right. So let's all go ahead and unmute ourselves and say, Kamsahamnida.
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 All right. Well, thank you guys so very, very much. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And if anyone has stars, go ahead and hold those up. Let's go ahead and do our stars for today. Does anyone have a haircut to turn in? Is that Miss Aaliyah? You have some?
Bye.
Yes, ma'am.
How many do you have, Aaliyah?
11.
Good job. Which ones are they?
The self-discipline sheet, the book club sheet, the character building #1 companion sheet, and then the chore chart.
Very nice. Good job. And Destiny, do you have some?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Which ones do you have, Miss Destiny?
I have 1 star and it's the self-discipline sheet.
Very good. All right, Mr. Corbin, how many do you have? Oop, hold on. You're still muted. Okay, go ahead. How many, Corbin?
9.
Me and Harley both have 9 stars.
Good. Which ones are they?
Karate homework and black belt excellence to do as character